It's not that, you know. Just, I didn't want to bite through the bottle, you know. My teeth are that strong.
We're not condoning opening bottles with teeth either, but as we say, we're plugging Colgate as well for this video. So cheers, people.
Cheers.
Happy New Year,
Cheers.
brother.
Happy New Year. You know.
So I suppose let's get straight into it. It's been a very much a whirlwind couple of months for everyone. Firstly and foremost, how's things been with you?
Well, you know, being in the sport industry and everything we do revolve around sport, it's been tough times because, as you know, nothing on TV to watch.
Yeah.
I don't really like soaps and those programs, and that seems to be all that's on TV nowadays. So otherwise I have to cope with a bit of Netflix and chill. But yeah, that's it really. Like, how about yourself?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a time of reflection. It's been a time where I've been able to sort of map out the next couple of weeks, because at the end of the day we can't focus too much on what's awaiting us in the next couple of months. We have to focus on the present. We've got to focus on the second, the minute, the hour, really, before we can even look to that long-term periphery. And yeah, we're in a good place. We're in a good place. We're in a place of reflection, but also repentance as well. Yeah. You know, being able to understand you as a person, your flaws. We all have flaws. We all have negatives, but we always channel that in a positive manner. So, even just touching on the sport side of things and away from the sport, it's been good. Being able to get out, utilise my outdoor facilities, public parks.
Yeah. Start
my own business, 2 businesses actually.
Nice.
One of them being right here, right now.
Yeah.
What we're looking to do as a collaboration. For those of you that don't know, me and Craig have known each other for the last 6 years. We've been working within the same sort of sector with sports. Craig's actually a mentor of mine. He's someone that I look up to, not just as a friend, but also a compassionate individual, someone that gives a lot of time to other people. Similar to myself, we devote our time to members of the public. And I think the platform that we're trying to devise here is something that we want to give people an opportunity, an outlet to speak up about their friendships, their relationships, not cut people down. Utilise those friendships, be positive about those friendships and maximise those friendships. And I think it's a perfect sort of a tribute to our friendship and also our working relationship, because I see you as someone that I can get on with, and I can just get on with outside of work and more sort of broad, you know, spectrum in life.
And that's exactly what's happening. I see that I have the same opinion of you, where bear fruit to this idea, living proof. People who meet...
You cooked me dinner tonight, so I have to give you those
accolades. There we go. But yeah, seriously, like when we met, who would have thought, who would have known this was going to be the avenue we end up going down. But to be honest, I couldn't really see this podcast or choosing anyone else to do a podcast with, because it's all about opinions. Yeah. We both got a lot to say. We both like to talk, but we love to focus on the facts. So that's one of the main things why I thought you're a great person to do this show with.
And just to let you know, people, he's the better looking out of the two out of this. So, well, we're gonna, because obviously, you know, this is the convenience of having a platform like this. It's just 2 opinions, but to kind of fast track that is, you know, this has been in the works for years. Like, we've always kind of known what we were going to do, but it took that opportunity to fuse together, because it is just the 2 of us. We only want it to be the 2 of us, because not saying that we're not going to have guests on in the future, but it's just, we're the anchors of this. It's like us 2 want to speak out, and we want to speak up about, you know, things, and we've sort of kind of narrowed our attention to other details, whereas it's just been always kind of me and you want to do something. When we meet up, we talk. You know, countless times we've met up and we've actually recorded things where we used it as a platform for our skills, our sort of learning and our ability to adapt in situations. Would you say that's a fair comment?
No, and that was a great exercise for both of us, because it taught us a lot. It taught us how open we were, how honest we are with each other.
100%.
And then again, the industries, the sort of injustices and other common elements or practices we both share those same opinions and point of views. Sometimes you could see, everyone sees life from a different angle and different perspective. So when you've got another voice that's also able to look at facts and be clinical, it helps so much and it stretches so far. So that was a great thing for me, watching those videos we've done prior, and then us sitting down and deliberating on what was good practice out of it, what we learned from it and stuff like that. So that was really good. And that's what brought us to today, to be honest. So it paid it did what it needed to do.
It paid dividends. It was sort of everything comes in good time, but also in good gesture. You know, one thing leads to another, and I think the fact that we were able to kind of, you know, use this as our base for moving forward. You know, it's a comfortable setup. It's a setup that we kind of are familiar with. It's something that we want to use as our way of putting a twist on a podcast. You know, we're not kind of reaching out to these massive like studios with these luxury themes. We're just keeping it real, keeping
chilling.
It chill.
You know, right now we're relaxing on the sofa. Yeah. So our podcast is going to be, listen, opinions about sports. So some days we might go into, you know what, transfer market. What's coming out of the transfer market? Who's going to China? Who's going to Germany? Who's going to Belgium? Yeah. Who's in England? Who's moved around in England? Other times we'll focus in on boxing. What's the big fight? Who's the undercard on that fight? Loads of different angles. We might look at swimmers, the next upcoming swimmer, the newest gymnast on the platform. So it's given that space for anyone, I mean everyone, who's either a reporter, who can't get into the big stage to interview anyone. Share your voice, share your experience, contact us, get in contact, let us know, talk to us, and we'll share it for you, we'll share it. And vice versa, we're trying to get that, or this show, into an arena where we could shed some light on stuff that now we can't access, now we don't know. We've got to wait for the story to be untold. And then we're like, okay, but how much of that is true? Yeah. Or how much of that do we cipher into and take away and value as gospel? Yeah. You know? So this is what this podcast is going to be about, and this is the reason why we made this podcast, to be honest, so we could relate more to you guys, the viewers, and then you guys could have a voice as well with us.
Yeah, and I think the main prerogative here is that we're an open and also inclusive platform, that we celebrate and advocate for diversity, and I mean, none better than us two. You know, we come from different backgrounds, but also it just idolises the fact that we are integrated in society, but we're also integrated in our passion to fuel views, fuel opinions. And for those of the people, the viewers that are watching, obviously this is a relatively fresh concept, it's a raw concept, and it's a concept that we're looking to take as much advice from other people and the opinions of other people that have got the expertise in some fields. Like, we're not going to know everything, but what we are willing to do is speak up about it and use our knowledge of sport, working with young children, young people who are the future of this global entity of development, to move forward.
Yeah, and one thing that we will be getting more practice at, and I've been doing this over the last couple of years, is doing more analyst sort of researching and looking through videos or short films, short documentaries, and live games, live events, going to these live events, so we could learn more and see more and discover more. As I said, it's about reporting and what's happening in the good, so shed light on the good, and also if there is any negative, shed some light on that so we could learn from it and understand why we're deeming that as unethical or deeming it as bad practice, whatever it might be, you know. And as I said, we're not experts. We're just going to be two opinions, you know, just the two of us sharing an opinion.
Not too overpowering opinions either.
No,
you know, because that's not what we're here for. We're here to sort of, you know, digest information, not dilute the market in a sense that we're not looking to, you know, rant about everything. But there is going to be topics that we are going to feel passionate about, and that's just going to come in part of the parcel of a podcast. Well, I know we spoke about
Well, I love a rant, so
who doesn't?
I can't promise there won't be any rants. Just putting that out there from now, because woo, there's a few people already I know scratching my beard there, because I know already what we're going to get into. But hey, lots more to come. So, okay, now we've done our intro. What would your first topic that you'd like to discuss with the viewers?
Yeah, well, I think there's an array of topics that we kind of mapped out for this first episode. But the first one being, like you said there at the sort of epilogue of this this viewing is about sort of our ability to watch sport on TV. Like during the lockdown, there has been a lot of effects that the pandemic has had on viewership and also the lack of crowds in certain mainstream sports. But I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on you as a sports fan, people that you surround yourself with being massively endorsed by sport, but also just kind of the seemingly lack of coverage on sports that me and you can relate to, that maybe not everyone sort of likes, but it's more of a casual approach.
Well, as you know, I live for sport. Whether it's equestrian, whether it's fencing, whether it's darts, whether it's football, boxing, wrestling, Formula One, all of the sports. I actually enjoy watching golf. I enjoy golf to a limit, but I enjoy all of these sports. I just love sports. So for me, it was really painful. As I said, I ended up watching Netflix, and this was the reason why. Because if I didn't watch Netflix,
you go mad.
I'd be. You remember the bottle flipping?
Yeah, flipping the coin.
It was that bottle flipping. It went on for ages.
Oh yeah, the one, the
Oh jeez and peas, man. This is how it felt for me. It was like watching someone doing a bottle flip.
Yeah.
It's not
like a sit at home challenge. Then you're trying to occupy your mind.
Oh, we do the business route. We do the mapping out our pathway. And our career choices, and if we're going to re-educate ourselves, we'll take up any further studies. But once you've done all of that, mate, listen, there's 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. We've been in lockdown for a year.
Yeah, coming up for a year now.
If you give me that much free time, and I've been working as well, but you give me that much free time, and you stop the whole world, there's going to be times where it's like you're banging your head against a brick wall. Literally, what do I do next, So that's literally, for me, how I felt. In saying that, I was very happy. And this is where I'm going to have a rant. But I was very happy when cricket started back.
Yes.
It was the first sport, I think. Don't quote me on that. Someone DM us and comment and let us know if I'm correct on that. But I think cricket was the first sport to go back.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the first.
Yeah?
I think horse racing might have been.
Yeah, that was up there as well, but I'm sure it was cricket. Yeah. I'm sure. Don't quote me 100, but I'm sure it was one of them, yeah? The cricket board, amazing. So I was happy. But that frustrated me. Oh my days. Do you know how many good cricket teams there are to watch? And it's not a lot, firstly, right? Yeah. So then now, I'm watching every league, every team, every international.
When you look at it in international cricket compared to, say, international football, because now obviously there's new concepts of the Nations League and the 2020, and then obviously you've got the domestic leagues like the IPL, the 2020, so.
And then, the 2020 is my favourite at the moment, right? My favourite. Test match. Driving me crazy. Listen, to all the real hardcore cricket fans, I know 5-day test match, that's just cricket, innit? That's what we all know. That's what I grew up on. So I know this. But, jeez, 5 days of cricket in COVID. Really? It's too slow. I've already got COVID going, and I don't need that as well.
But is it fair to say that, and this is by means no disrespect to the game of cricket or the nature of cricket, but traditionally similar to like golf and other sports, even like NFL, they're played at a slow, methodic pace.
Oh my!
So even that's intensified to the extent where you're just like, as a cricket fan, you're like scratching your head thinking,
how many hours?
How many? Yeah. I mean, look at that. Remember that game back in I think it was 2008 at Wimbledon when that game went on for about 3.5 hours. Yeah. So imagine that, standing on a cricket pitch for 4 hours. Oh,
the joke of that game, a tennis match, right?
Yeah.
I was at work when it started, and I was dying because I was missing it, and I really wanted to know who won.
Yeah, it was a good game. I think it was like, that Australian guy, Kyrgios, wasn't it?
It went very far. It went very, very far. Went into the night.
It did, and then they had to delay it and then reconvene the next day.
So I left work thinking, oh man, I wonder who won.
Yeah.
Got home to find out it's still on, so I thought, watching it, right? So then find out that I'm not going to find out today who won. I'm going to be in the same situation the following day. Where I'm at work, not concentrating. But you know what? That made it interesting. That made it a spectacle because that actually got me thinking, oh wow, like I'm looking forward to my evening today. Yeah. So that was good.
And that's what enlightens us sports fans, is the fact that if we look at our lives, and I think even speaking from my own personal experience, sport probably composes 85% of my life, 85% of the ordinary person's life, because you've got to realise that when we talk about spectacles and when we talk about events, and many of you will on weekends go to a rugby game or go to a netball game, a basketball game. When the Olympics is on, you'll choose your specific event. So there's always an added interest there.
Let's not mention that word again, that old word. Let's not mention. That's one thing I've missed.
Omniplex.
Not Omniplex, no.
Because we're creating a movie.
The Olympics. Oh my, it's
because there is some events in that, it's just completely...
well needed at this time. I think they should just have a special Olympics just because of COVID.
As in what, like a phased Olympics? So you have
like just when COVID finishes, right?
Right.
And they actually...
But that's what they're saying about the 2021 Olympics, is that they're going to start it again in 2020...
please.
But this year, I think.
It was meant to be this year.
But
due to... I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but
no.
They need to just put a ribbon, a big fat ribbon over that.
Well, and no disrespect, with Tokyo and Japan, they've obviously, with the Rugby World Cup in 2019, they were hit by the typhoon.
Yeah.
So it seems that that kind of, they've jinxed it in a way. Or the world global order have jinxed the coverage
all
of
the national,
the Olympics.
The massive events, world stage events.
Yeah.
And what I mean by put a big ribbon on it is invite more nations, just because of this COVID. Involve nations that normally have nothing. You know, those smaller nations?
Yeah.
Or introduce at least minimum 2 new sports to the Olympics. Just to give us audience a little bit more extra, to get us off our seats. Like, get me, you know.
But do you know what they should do? You know how they do the Olympic torch passing through like local towns, especially when in London?
Yeah.
I remember going down to like there's a mosque in our local area, so they have everyone like just stand by the mosque and have the
doing
torch
a similar
ceremony. Why don't they incorporate maybe a local Olympics where, like, within your local area, similar to what they do with the virtual runs, the marathon,
yes.
have like a local Olympics, and then at the end of it, if it was in London or even if it's in France or if it's in Japan, tally up then for each borough or each district who the top district is in, and then you could then add that to the score total. So then what you could do is, because obviously being in London and being in England is a very cosmopolitan and diverse population, you could then start to say, if like say you had all these different nationalities competing, you had maybe like a runner from France or a runner from Sweden or a runner from Albania, whoever wins that event, just add them onto the total, the medals list.
What, for the global one?
For the global one.
For the real one?
Yeah.
So I have non-athletes.
Yeah, because you just said there, taking 2 events and getting up out of your seat, making you want to get out of your seat. No. That would implore people to get out of their seats. Because how many people have been stuck at home watching TV their whole life?
That's my problem. Non-athletic people, right? No.
Yeah, but that would encourage more people to get out, and it would reduce obesity. It would do all these other things.
It's a great idea, but I'm telling you
it's
now.
It's not going to cut at elite level.
Wait, not just that. I'm telling you now. If GB have been dying to get gold, doing it this way is definitely not going to get us gold.
Well, we can always endorse the Olympic running team to get a few people to. I know you're a very talented runner, so I mean.
Stretch a hand out.
Run, Forrest, run!
I think they need at least 2 years prep to get that going. No, that's a great idea though. All jokes aside, I wouldn't go to as far as incorporate it with the actual athletes.
Yeah, just to let you know, people, that was a fantasy kind of idea.
But it's a great idea still.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you're right in that aspect where...
I'm thinking more sort of like, because obviously when
schools, colleges.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely think that is a major thing where...
Yeah.
And when we talk about community and bringing sport together...
Because we're adding commercial value to it. Because if you look at schools, there is this stigma that people have, like kids have to keep fit, they have to do a certain sport, they have to run around the track to keep fit, but actually the importance of mental fitness and doing things like, say, Scrabble or, you know, Ludo or other games that we kind of succumb to, like Uno and all these games.
Oh.
You know, it's quick reactions. That could be a sport.
What's it now? Uno.
Well, I know for a fact it's definitely more valuable of a sport than something like badminton.
Oh, you've really touched my gear there. You've touched my gear. I love badminton. What's wrong with badminton?
I love badminton.
Tell me what's wrong with badminton.
This is the first one that came to my mind. Again, people, no disrespect to the badminton lovers out there.
My badminton community.
I mean, who doesn't like hitting a shuttlecock around? For all the female fans out there,
listen,
we're heading out to America, we're heading out to Thailand.
I'm with my badminton community on this one. I'm against that idea, yeah? We love badminton. It's a great sport.
A bit of controversy every now and then.
It's a great sport.
They call me the local Piers Morgan.
Yeah, well, I can see why. With those outrageous statements about my badminton.
Tubby drinking J20s.
My beloved badminton sport. Right, so, no, let's get back on that same topic of, bringing that to like university and school levels.
Yeah.
I don't think in some boroughs they are, let's say, sport driven, and other boroughs, don't really care. I've gone to Hackney, I've gone to Enfield.
Yep. When
it comes to sport, they are serious.
Oh, serious?
Brent, 50-50. Well, actually not even 50-50, less. When you go to Ealing, even less.
Yep.
So that sort of idea, and if the government used a government initiative and sort of embedded that in their curriculum to fit around, normally it's sports day that type of year, but the sports day are so tedious.
Yeah, but they're not. They're all focused on thematic.
Yeah.
They're not focused on nurturing. Sport.
No.
Or people or kids.
It's not. And that's why I think that idea, like what you said, is amazing because
it has an element of competition.
And lots of different sports.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be. It could, and instead of doing it for one, because the Olympics not done in one day. Yeah. It's over a month. So this will keep everyone active, having fun, an enjoyment factor that we've lost in society these days. Yeah. Everyone's focused on winning all of this and all, but the main thing about those teams that win, their team cohesion, their team tactic. They're motivated by each other and the friendships they build in those teams. Yeah. And then obviously it's a game, so everyone wants to win, so you're going to get that competitiveness anyway. Yeah. But you think about that in schools and look at your local areas. All of a sudden your local schools are working together to be better than Enfield, to be better than that next, you know? And then you're now getting that, and it's not just about, as I said, being better or winning. It's about being that community. Yeah. You go through Ealing, you go through Southall, all of these kids and all these families are happy to go and support and watch because the showcase of what's going on looks good.
Yeah. And they know that there's no involvement or influence from these like egotistical groups in society, because it's like, because they're all sort of familiar with the same schooling, the same system, they're all willing to push one another on at the expense of the kids then using that as like, if they want to go on to become an athlete, or if they, because you see, and you mentioned two very, very outstanding boroughs, Hackney and the other one, Enfield. Yeah. I know probably about, off the top, I couldn't even count the amount of people I know on my hands, my two hands, of people that have gone from nothing to then becoming like a noticeable style in their respective sports. So if we talk about Hackney, I mean, you could say Lawrence Okoli, for example, who's fighting Krzysztof Glowacki for the world title in a couple of months. From Hackney, worked in McDonald's actually during the 2012 Olympic cycle. You know, so again, embedded in his community, but now he's gone on to have a very successful pro career and minimal. Well, no, actually, you can't really say minimal because he went through the Team GB and he went on to the Olympics. Even though he didn't medal at the Olympics, he's still a reputable Olympian. Yeah. So, you know, and then if you look at even like someone on another side of the spectrum from Enfield, like community workers, people that, you know, have the riches in abundance, like not just in the terms of their talent, but their willingness to devote time to people. And I think that theme really resembles with us, because even though, I mean, we probably wouldn't get noticed straight away within that core mainstream kind of, because I think community work and coaching, it doesn't really get the attention or recognition that it deserves.
No, it doesn't. It's actually fading. If you look at the last 10 years, how many community centres?
Plummet. How
nothing
many
for
local
the youth,
initiatives?
Nothing for the youths to do. They're not pushing sport or creative ideas. So now, if you look at the opposite, to be honest, in terms of how many entrepreneurs, internet gamers, or people using now technical devices and becoming an individual company, or these young entrepreneurs now, within 10 years, how much different in the two scales. One's climbing so quickly, and the other, these same kids who might be, what you say, could be the next skateboarder, could be the next breakdancer, for example, if they were still going to their youth groups. They're not doing anything. So now they're getting into trouble. They turn to that, they turn to that. There's no sport. So what do they do with their time?
Because there's no path to navigate them to that sort of lure and that kind of, I suppose in a way, a dream. A dream's just been crushed because one thing's crushed and then it leads to another being crushed, and then what value do they have then? What purpose do they have?
See? And just to get back on topic, because I know we went off topic there for a bit, but it's very important we touch on all the surrounding factors and the base of all of those, because they do have an effect on the other. They do lead on. They're all intertwining with each other. Yeah, so it's very important we address certain things at times.
I really like that word. It's probably one of my favourite words.
What, intertwining?
Yeah, there's another word I like, but I won't mention it on camera.
If I don't get there before you, but we'll wait.
We might endorse it maybe 5-6 podcasts down the line.
There we go.
If there's opportunity for endorsement. Let us know, people, in the comments, if you'd like us to follow a particular theme, if you'd like us to present this in a very articulate, but have a bit of notoriety about us as well. Let's move on to our second topic, because that was, I enjoyed that. Second topic being, right, so on that note, I need to quickly pop to the notepad to get us.
Yeah, go on.
But
No.
also, you know, give this a little. So, Mr. Prince, as we're going to call you from now on, Mr. Prince, the second topic of our discussion is going to be, and I think we can literally just roll off the back of the last topic, is the rich versus poor divide. And how sport encapsulates growth, how it encapsulates exponential growth in terms of character building, and no better example than one Marcus Rashford.
Our good mate, Marcus.
Number 10. Our favourite, probably one of our, biggest idols during this time.
Rashford. Hey, we could go with that. Yes. Our number 10. No, not you.
But isn't that a great thing? A great synopsis to have. He's wearing number 10. Our main focal in government is number 10. So why is he not in number 10? I don't get it. Why is he not? Is there an electoral mandate, by the way, that we can have Marcus? Because we would love to have you in number 10.
Marcus is the man.
He is the man.
I think Marcus needs to change his door number to number 10.
No, I'd say number 11.
And paint it black. So that could be the real number 10.
Yeah.
And then the other number 10 is just discarded.
But if he...
We just don't know.
If he opts for number 11, then we can just completely refine the whole...
scale.
Political spectrum at Whitehall. And we can just say, look, Marcus Rashford...
Number 11.
Number 11.
Runs the country.
Rashford. And just have people coming up for his daily talks. And then before they even know it, the media are shouting, Rashford.
Well, not with this media. Don't trust some of this media, though. And before you know it, Rashford goes and has himself a J20. And the media is going to say, he's going to come in the labour of the J20.
Yeah.
And they're going to go and say, the gin and tonic. And that's why he didn't score.
Do you think now that we talk about J2 and also our good friend Marcus, that we should endorse him with a crate of J2Os to fuel his performance? Because I feel like what we want to know is why is he such a prolific player? Oof. Not just because of
everyone wants to know that.
There we go.
That's a
What's the ingredients? Let us know in the comments, people, what you think the ingredients are to successful footballers.
If Marcus could share with me his ingredients, I promise Marcus, I'll put it in a bottle and sell it.
100%. Love the way you covered the bottle there. It's just like, if anyone's donating any particular substances, please cover the bottle.
If Marcus gives me a secret ingredient, I'll put it in a bottle.
Yeah. No cap here.
No cap, I'll sell it. No cap. Right, so, let's get back to it. Yeah, so, the same divide you're talking about, rich versus poor. Yes. Marcus Rashford actually sums that whole debate up. And for me, after using this example, there's nothing more to say. Like, when I look at, and if you haven't seen the documentary, please check out Marcus Rashford's documentary, please. And check out his background. Because he's a kid with heart. It's not because he plays for Man United and he plays for England, he scores loads of goals and he's a footballer.
But he's a kid of fulfilment. He's a kid of passion. And it's beyond that. Yeah.
It's beyond. It's hard for many to comprehend, but the guy is a walking heart. Like, forget people saying they wear their heart on their sleeve and all of that. He puts this into action. When I see him, it's literally just, I just see his heart pumping like this. Like, this guy, blood, sweat and tears.
He's like an open letterbox for love. Like, just literally the way, just the unprecedented time that he gives to people.
Don't know him.
No.
Doesn't have a skill. He don't need to do all of that. No. He doesn't need to.
He's got everything, all the riches in life, financially he's doing.
The people getting paid to do all of that don't do all of that.
But that's the problem we have in society.
They're paid to care.
They're paid to have this patriarchal, but also role model-esque front. Like, as in, they have to be there because they're put in a position of hierarchy.
Responsibility.
Marcus Rashford, for example, is put in a position of hierarchy because he's earned that position.
And he's an athlete.
Yeah. Exactly.
So people are looking at him, oh, he's rich, he can do it, he's rich, he's got money.
So Marcus, mate, keep flexing, my brother, because you've every right to. And whatever people say about your notoriety and your riches, well, quite frankly, it's none of your bloody business. As you say, with a bit of sprinkle of sauce, it's none of your bloody business.
So yeah, no, but seriously, there's people in power who are doing nothing. Yeah. And when we talk about
being
riches,
held accountable.
And when we talk about riches, we're talking about one athlete here, Marcus Rashford. Is he the richest footballer? Is he the richest sportsman?
That we have in this country right now?
No,
globally, he's not.
No, he's not in this country. Let's just do this country for now. No. Is he the richest person? No. So let's say footballers are not noble people. That's the next statement that comes as well. Okay, then let's rethink that, because who stepped forward when they saw all of this opportunities taken away from the kids? Yeah. When they heard kids were not going to receive school meals, or kids were not going to get any of their funding through holiday periods and half terms. Yeah. Let's look at all of these rich people who are meant to be so noble and so kind and so caring. Yeah. What did they do? Did you hear anyone else? Did you?
But see, with Marcus Rashford, he amalgamated all of those into one: childcare, mentoring, food provision, eradicating the stigma of depletion of resources within the community. And because it's more far-fetched than just schools.
Wait, hold on. That's what I was going to say. Before we go to jumping on Rashford bandwagon, because some of you might think, and some of the viewers might think, you're just jumping on Rashford bandwagon. No. Let's just say that. No. The reason why Marcus Rashford became even known to us was because of the media started publicating that he started a petition because they refused to listen to his idea behind the scene. So he had the conversations when we didn't know nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
So there could have been other people, is what I'm saying, tried. But the same answer they got, Rashford wasn't happy.
Yeah,
and he started the petition.
I think with the Marcus Rashford case as well, I think it come at a perfect time really, because as like you said there could have been a number of footballers from that particular, there could have been a number of black footballers that put forward a petition or put forward a reason to promote inclusion and to give children of all age groups the opportunity to have food, which I think is an essential part of their development and growth. But like you said there, they've got sort of the wrong end of the stick here with what he's trying to advocate. They're trying to say that he's looking for the attention. A lot of the media outlets are trying to scrutinise him, but at the end of the day, he's had to get that mainstream attention off his own back.
Yep.
You think that the ordinary reporter or ordinary editor or whoever you want to say, columnist, was there at the petition, was like, "That's okay, Rashford. We understand, mate. We were going to help you."
Well, I give you an example of that one is after this whole thing went global, right? Yeah. And then the Prime Minister changed his mind and implemented new laws or agreed to the Rashford deal. Yeah. The media started writing newspaper articles about Rashford's private life and the amount of estates and houses he owns to then paint him out to be a villain again.
Or to be a money laundering P words, what I'm going to say. But
well, why weren't they doing that when he started the petition?
But that's the blueprint for every media outlet that scrutinises a famous person. If you look at, for example, I mean, who would be a good example to Patrice Evra.
Oh yes.
When he suffered that racial abuse from Luis Suarez. He was almost painted the villain.
Yeah. Well, he was.
He was because he was the victim.
Because remember, it's not just him. And Jamie Carragher had to apologise.
Yeah.
Because I remember that match, black and white.
Well. Yeah. Jeremy is a fitting.
Yeah. Because he came out, refused to shake Evra's hand.
Yeah.
Because Evra refused to shake Suarez had. Now I'm saying, me and you've got an argument. I'm accusing you of being racially abusing me. But me and little Jamie over here got no problem, right? No problem whatsoever.
Because the conscious bias kicks in from them two particularly.
But as a human, something as racial abuse, you're not able to separate your loyalty or your thoughts to, hold on, my stance is going to be this, me and you are cool, but you two still have a problem because he racially abused you, or you think I racially abused, that's nothing to do with me. So you know what, mate? You two deal with that issue, but me and him's cool.
It's all about diction, isn't it? How you address people. And like you said there, once you've addressed that person in that way, whether it's racial abuse, whether it's misogyny or bigotry, that person's always going to have that against you. Because it doesn't matter how sorry you are or justifiable you are, you've taken upon yourself to be like that. It takes human character to want to resent a particular racial group or someone of a different colour of skin.
Well, that's
and this is beyond football.
Well, this is why I was about to say.
Because if you look at the catalyst for that, when Anton Ferdinand was racially abused over social media and probably experienced it far beyond.
Far. And this is where I look at loads of stuff where I'm not putting any crime above any other crime, by the way, because they're all the same, right? But there's a couple of things that wind me up with these injustices, right? Patrice was painted so badly. Most other clubs didn't want to sign him till he had to end up going back to France because that's where he started his career and had such a successful career. And also he's a French national of a World Cup winning team as well, right? So that's a no-brainer that you'd always get a job over there doing something, right? But Luis Suarez, he was guilty, goes to one of the biggest clubs in the world, and they welcome him with opening arms, knowing they've got black players as well. So they didn't think, actually, if this guy has done that, we're putting him in a situation where he's like he's uncontrollable, he's unpredictable, because it came out of nowhere. What made him do that? We will never know. But between me and you and the viewers as well, we'll never know. But there's so many other footballers in similar situations. That's why I said I don't want it to just be racial, because when you look at Chad Evans, who then went and they said he was a rapist and all of that.
It almost dehumanises the player.
It's Adam Johnson, similar, when they said he went with a 15-year-old. And I'm not saying these guys shouldn't be dealt with in the way they did, if they were guilty, definitely. But almost they dealt with that one worse than the racist one. If in my opinion, it was like because no one wanted to sign them.
But you know why they did that? Because they knew the backlash was going to be far more against the governing, sanctioning bodies, against the wider reputation of the sport. Because racism has always been prevalent in sport, and in football particularly. If you look at organisations such as Kick It Out, who is spearheaded by Troy Townsend. Troy Townsend himself doesn't even get the opportunity to come on mainstream, because I remember the incident where Rio Ferdinand spoke on BT Sport and they got Troy Townsend to ring in, and this was when obviously the FA and the Premiership had put forward the option for teams to wear the shirts before games. And I thought that was a genius move from Kick It Out, but also from the players, because the players knew what was going on, and that's why you see now with the Black Lives Matter stuff that they get on their knees and everyone, not just black players, they all get down on one knee because it's like it's a united front, exactly. So, but yeah, no, you were saying about
So why I'm saying it seems like they treated Adam Johnson, Chad Evans a lot worse. Who were the victims?
Yeah, but reverse. The girls were, or the victims were the kid.
Is it not the kid? Not the kid. I don't mean the kid. I'm saying, do you think just a conversation? By the way, I'm not saying I think this. Just being devil's advocate.
I mean, we're not detectives, or
yeah, exactly. Do you think the crime or the punishment, would have been the same if those were black individuals?
I think they would have been a lot harsher.
I don't think so, because
I think they would have been a lot harsher because of the stigma.
I'll tell you why I don't think it would be a lot harsher.
Okay.
The Chelsea fans who bullied that black guy on the train
in France.
Yeah. They got a little slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
The bullies in Newcastle, that again.
So if we're talking, let's just say, for example, cricket. We'll use the example of cricket. Yeah. Notable to be a sport of aristocracy, meteorocracy, and usually with like the white upper class. So obviously the crowds at cricket games, similar to rugby, are a lot more respectable and a lot more sort of peaceful. But if you had a group of, say, 6-7 black cricket fans who then went to a game in, let's just say, Yorkshire or Warwickshire or something like that, and they racially abused another member of the crowd who was white, would that incident be given just as much media scrutiny and also public scrutiny as it would the example you just used there, which didn't even get that level of attention in France, with a group of white people racially abusing a black man?
I think it would. I think if they went, 7 black guys went to a cricket match and racially abused someone, I think that would get loads of attention.
No, but I'm saying, that's what exactly the way I'm saying it. I'm saying it'll get attention for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, for the wrong reasons, And I'm glad you picked the cricket example, because that's what I was going to do next. To why I said the crime.
It's only just because I've seen the smile on your face when I talk about it.
The smile seems fitting.
Yes.
For some, because Chad Evans and Adam Johnson were able to re-enter the football world, and from what I know, they're doing okay.
Well, they were able to manipulate the system, weren't they?
Right.
Yeah.
So let's go past that now and touch on to. Not sure if you heard about the Samuels and Shane Warne banter going backwards and forwards, and he then started making, let's say, derogative terms and using explicit language.
So are we talking the level of bigotry that would be commonly associated with direct racial abuse, or would it be more sort of about...
Both.
Okay.
So it was sexually orientated towards that, and then obviously, racially as well. And he did it towards one of the English cricketers as well. Oh, jeez, how could I forget this guy? Like, his name was just
Current?
No, it wasn't Current.
Stuart Broad? That was just a guess, I don't know.
No, it's not Stuart Broad. I can't remember this guy. It was just in my name. It's until I started.
Kevin Peterson?
Nah. Anyway, the viewers will know which cricketer I'm talking about. Anyway, So basically what he went into detail, which is wrong, by the way. But this got so much backlash. He basically went to a convo and said it was over COVID, right?
Right, okay.
Where he's gone in on his Insta, and the two cricketers, Shane Warne and the English cricketer, was having a message. Not Shane Warne. So the English cricketer was messaging some of the other guys in the group, and they must have asked him, how have your COVID been, or whatnot. So he made a comment and related to Samuels, and he said, I would prefer to be stuck somewhere rather than be anywhere near Samuels, or something like that. Samuel came back and said, well, your wife wouldn't be saying that. She'd rather, then went into some next stuff, and then went into a racial comment then, right?
Right, okay.
It was on every social, and I wish I had the full name of the... I feel so silly now bringing up without his name, because it just undo the story I'm trying to portray. But anyway, you could find it yourself and then get up to just with the conversation if you really are that interested in it. But basically, he was then killed, not only by every cricketer, that shared path, but also then by the committees. And that's not just criticism because they're gentlemen, that's their human instinct coming in and saying, how dare you, A, be so disgusted with your use of language and terminology, not only bring a next man's wife in to your dispute with the individual, but then addressing the race behind it and then calling him a name as well. So the backlash, I've not seen that before in sport, really and truly, because as I said, I used the Jamie Carragher example, which was the total opposite. Yeah. He was there, okay, let me tap my friend on the shoulder and hold his back for him. Yeah. But this next guy that's saying and we know, because the guy's not saying he didn't say it, he's trying to translate it means something else. Yeah. So that's why I was comparing the two. And is it a sport thing? Is it a football is more aimed at that sort of audience? Yeah. And cricket are a lot more honest and gentleman-like people, to why you see that divide, and even why the committee managers or presidents deal with incidents, whether it's isolated incidents, one-off incidents, they deal with it a lot more serious, and sort of don't condemn or condone those incidents on any level. Whereas football is governed by, as they say, football used to be governed by the mobs. And you could tell in some of their attitude or behaviours of the individuals of the hierarchy scale compared to the lower level footballers. Yeah. You could clearly see the injustice. It's evident. Yeah. What would you, as you say, your
well, I think if we're just talking about racial injustice, I think it goes a lot more broad than just talking about one-to-one interaction. Because if you look at it from, well, I think that is probably the most important bit, is to dissect the reasons to why people would want to racially abuse someone, especially being in an industry like football or sport where values, common values and professionalism are at the hierarchy and forefront of their playing days.
Well, it's to give you a competitive edge though, isn't it?
It's mind games.
Yeah, it's about...
But it's mind games taken too far.
Yeah.
You know, definitely. That's why footballers don't have press conferences. Because football is a game of 11 players against 11. It's not like a... See, that's the issue. And obviously, you're profoundly a football man. I'm profoundly... You're profoundly a cricket and football man. Yeah. I'm profoundly a boxing man. So when I talk about boxing and isolated incidences, it's rare that you see professional boxers of a black descent or heritage being racially abused. Because it's that... But there is not to say that when Anthony Joshua fights Tyson Fury, which again are from two very similar backgrounds in terms of their racial abuse that they've received, because obviously Tyson's a traveller, gypsy, he's had faced incredible racial abuse and prejudice, and also Anthony Joshua. We've not seen that side to Anthony Joshua yet. So I'm not saying that Tyson Fury is going to racially abuse Anthony Joshua. That's by far not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is there could be a core fan base from either side that might adopt that theory, or they might adopt
and
that.
Use it.
Exactly.
Well, with Fury, Fury is probably one individual who stands out to me as you can't really, not to say you can't, he already says everything you could possibly say himself. Yeah,
and it's like there's no control.
Yeah, so now you can't insult him, and that seems like he's already insulted himself. So if you look at his technique and his style and his delivery in how he presents himself, it's to take that away from, nullify it. You now have no attack on my personality because I've already done that for you. Yeah. So he's so manipulative with his words and his choice that you can't mess with me mentally that way now. You're going to have to find another style, another way. And he's so advanced in that way. Yeah. And that's why I used Cesaro as, in my example, as someone who lacks that and is a lot more short-tempered.
Yes.
So when he faced it, whether it's racial abuse, whether it's injustice, whether it's adjusting to adversity, he wears it on his sleeve. So you will see, I'm not sure if you've seen the David Hay, well you have because you're a boxer man, him and the David Hay one, right?
When he at the
press conference
in Munich.
Yeah.
Through the glass.
The glass bottle. Yeah.
But that's temperament. That's two immature fighters at that stage of their careers wanting to get. It's like a publicity stunt. Yes. But I'm not saying that was prearranged, because there's no way that could have possibly been talked about beforehand. No. That was obviously instinct, like you said, the human instinct.
Worked up, yeah.
Instinctive, yeah.
So no, it's good that we've got these different passions. That's why.
But what I think is extremely important is when we talk about these issues, we're coming from the same perspective, but we're like as if we're dividing that into 6-7 different branches.
Yeah.
But we're using the examples that we're using as contemporary examples within different time frames, but they all kind of fuse together as one. Right, next topic, winter survival package, which is kind of like a sub breakdown of what we talked about in terms of support for schools, young people, but also support for the sport itself, because obviously sport is governed by commission, sport is governed by commercial scalability, and sport is kind of as if it's governed by the fans. And obviously as fans and as sports enthusiasts, we want to know, was this breakdown for the survival package fair? Did it neglect other sports? And what sort of, because I can probably roughly tell you that I think rugby union received 160 million, Formula 1 121 million, and then there was a sequence of sports that received between the range of 90 and 50 million. So.
Far less. I think what was taken into consideration there was popularity and sellability, like what you've touched on, marketability, which is a shame, but it's the world we live in. It's not fair. And that's why I was saying at the beginning, I was so disappointed with football, because they were probably at the top of that list, right? And they couldn't get their clothes in order, their shorts in order, their pants in order, their socks in order to resume sooner. Like, we're still waiting for live football to go back to audience, you know? But the stadium holds minimum capacity, I would say, this all stadium is 30,000 probably, Premier League teams, right? And then you're looking at the championships, maximum would be 30 probably. I know there's a few championship teams and even lower Sunderland who open up to 50,000, right?
Yeah.
However, if you're looking at even 5,000 capacity, you could spread everyone around the building and at least let 100 people in to watch the game. These people pay membership. I don't pay my season membership card to watch it on TV, and I've already got my Sky.
Yeah, but that's even more enticing you to get that Sky Pass, because it's like you're paying an extra £50-60.
No, because the supporters who have a season ticket, their channel would show the match anyway.
Yeah, but how many of those fans that go to watch games would then come back on a Sunday afternoon and watch Sky Sports?
But you wouldn't, because you've already seen the game.
Yeah, but you'd watch the breakdown of the game. If you're a really hardcore fan, you'd watch the highlights, match of the day, stuff like that.
That's
terrestrial.
That's terrestrial. And also, that's later on, where you're going to watch that.
Yeah.
Where I'm saying is, if I sign up to Man United and I'm a member, right? Club member. You got the Man United TV.
Red Devils TV.
So I turn on, I watch the match live. They have your face up on the screen in the stadium, right? That's not why I bought my membership card. I know it's a great initiative what they've done, and I'm not taking it away. It's a great idea, yeah? However, if you asked how much millions of fans, would you prefer if every game then we selected 100 or 1,000 different members to actually go live, and this is how we would safeguard everyone in this COVID time to make sure you're all spread out around the building and we're containing this thing. But you have to take these tests, just like the athletes, just like the footballers. They've had to take those. They're 30 minutes. You get your result. Probably they've got ones that are faster. And even if you ask those die-hard fans, would you mind paying extra to take these tests and be able to watch the match live? They pay that. They pay that. So I'm saying, why weren't that process taken into consideration, or why wasn't it even a choice? Why isn't it even given to people?
It's a knock-on effect, isn't it? Like we're going to talk about knock-on effects as well, but when you're going to watch a game, it's the other amenities that you are enticed by. It's
the foods, the alcohol.
Yeah, not so much the alcohol, but it is
the beers. Of course
the beers.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah.
And that's what they probably, because they still got to have the lights on. Let's be honest.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's an entertainment industry. So just as much as you want to go to a concert and have a laugh, go to a football game and have a laugh, and it's pretty much like the football takes the template of a concert, because it's like fans get up out of their seats, shouting, screaming, "Hey,
Mexican
Rashford!"
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's where my thoughts are of that.
And just I suppose kind of to, because we have got through a lot. If we're talking about obviously marketability, and we're talking about commerciality in sport, do you feel that by us fans who are kind of on the outset, we're sitting at home and watching sport, similar to, I suppose, in a way, if we had the opportunity to have our voices heard on sport, similar to what they do on Gogglebox, where they just kind of like watch a range of TV, like that could be something that we could implement, like, because the views of fans, it's all right taking to social media and taking to a forum, but actually having that spoken in voice is.
But that's something we're going to do. We're going to do. We're going to even boxing matches. We're going to.
Like live commentaries.
Live.
Well, it's going to be a lot more than live commentary. We're actually going to go right scrap to the TV.
Yeah. And you're going to see our reactions.
Yeah.
Live when it's on. So it's similar to Gogglebox, but I get what you're going with. That is, they should be doing something similar. But I suppose they would say, sport. We've got match of the day.
Yeah.
We've got Football Focus that gives you the pre-game analysis, lineups, information that you might need, and then obviously you've got the match of the day, which is the review. You get to see the press conferences or post-match conferences, let's say. So I guess they'll use that and say that's what it is. But yeah, we're going to do the proper one where we sit down and watch the match, and we have guests tuning in. Yeah.
Most definitely.
That will be jokes. I'm looking forward to that one.
And it will be something that we will harvest over the next couple of weeks.
So that's another one in the pipeline, guys. But
any final words?
So if you want to be one of the individuals or anything we've said you're interested in finding out more, DM us. You've got the Instagram, you've got the podcast, you've got the those are the main two, to be honest.
I suppose we will probably kind of create a group where we can get people to leave their comments and leave sort of a social engagement.
Yeah. So, and then we're definitely looking for participants to be in the live viewing of matches. So we will send you the matches, whether it's sport themed, right? So you'll be watching a match that we send you, whether it's a boxing match, cricket, game, netball, basketball, whatever it is, and then we'll watch it, stream it, and then we'll put the video out after. So
run the tape.
Run it. So
and what we could do actually touch on that. We could do kind of like highlight reels from like back in the 60s, 70s for like the World Cups, and especially when England won the '96 World Cup. I mean, I'm not going to even tell you what I told you earlier about the 2000 World Cup. But yeah, no. So as I said, people is a nice and kind of nice introduction to what we're kind of looking to convey, and most importantly, obviously during these times, is to stay kind of switched on, really, because like a light bulb, it has to keep on and to shed light on things, and what we kind of hope we've shed light on today with the topics that we've chosen. We look forward to your responses, and I guess that's kind of all from me, really. Yeah, so on that note, we'll say we are J2 out. Outie, yes? Yes, we are.